The courtroom doors swing open as Marcus Sullivan enters, his eyes fixed straight ahead, avoiding the gaze of the woman already seated at the defendant's table. Judge Patricia Brennan adjusts her glasses and reviews the case file one more time before looking up. Miss Rachel Torres, you've brought Mr. Sullivan to this courtroom because he recently revealed to you that he believes he is your biological father, a claim that has turned your entire world upside down. Is that correct? Yes, Your Honor. For 38 years, I believed my father was Daniel Torres, the man who raised me, who walked me down the aisle at my wedding, who held my children when they were born. Then, 6 months ago, this man shows up at my doorstep with the most ridiculous story I've ever heard. Mr. Sullivan, you're here today asking this court to establish that you are Miss Torres's biological father. You claim that you and her mother had a relationship decades ago, and that you've carried this secret for nearly 4 decades. Why are you coming forward now? Your Honor, I'm dying. The doctors gave me maybe a year, possibly less. Lung cancer, stage 4. And I realized that I couldn't leave this earth without Rachel knowing the truth about where she came from. She deserves to know her real medical history, her real heritage. I've watched her from a distance her whole life, and I can't die with this lie still between us. From a distance? What does that mean, Mr. Sullivan? Explain that to me. I was there, Your Honor. At her kindergarten graduation, sitting in the back row. At her high school plays, I'd buy a ticket and sit in the corner where no one would notice me. When she got married, I watched from across the street as she came out of that church. I've been a ghost in her life because her mother, God rest her soul, made me promise I would never interfere. My mother died 3 years ago, and she never said a word about this. Not one word. If this was true, if he was really my father, why wouldn't she tell me before she passed? Because she made a deathbed promise to someone else first. To your father, to Daniel. She promised him on his deathbed that she would never tell you. He died when you were 25. Rachel, you remember that? Of course I remember that. That was the worst year of my life. My father, my real father, died of a heart attack, and I was there holding his hand when he took his last breath. But here's what you don't know. 3 days before Daniel died, your mother visited me. It was the first time I'd seen her face to face in over 20 years. She sat in my living room, and she told me everything. Daniel was sick, dying, and he was terrified. Terrified that after he was gone, you'd somehow find out the truth. He made her swear on everything holy that she would protect you from this knowledge, that you would never doubt who your father was. This is insane. You expect me to believe that my mother, the most honest woman I've ever known, kept something like this from me? That she lied to me every single day of my life? Not lied, Rachel. Protected you. There's a difference. Judge Brennan leans forward, her expression serious and focused. Mr. Sullivan, I need you to take me back to the beginning. How did you know Rachel's mother? What was the nature of your relationship? Patricia, her mother, was my best friend's wife. Daniel was my best friend since we were kids. Grew up on the same street. Went to the same schools. When they got married, I was his best man. I stood right there next to him when he promised to love and cherish Patricia for the rest of his life. And yet you claim you had an affair with her? It wasn't like that. It wasn't some cheap affair. Daniel and Patricia, they'd been trying to have a baby for 7 years. 7 years of disappointment, of treatments that didn't work, of watching Patricia cry every month when she got the news that it hadn't happened again. They went to specialists, did all the tests. That's when they found out that Daniel, he couldn't father children. Something about his sperm count, some medical condition he'd had as a teenager. I've seen my baby pictures with my father. I looked just like him. Everyone always said I had his eyes, his smile. That's because Patricia chose me very carefully, Rachel. I know this sounds calculated and cold, but please try to understand the context. Daniel was devastated, absolutely broken. He wanted to be a father more than anything in the world. They looked into adoption, but the wait lists were years long, and Patricia wanted to experience pregnancy, wanted to carry a child. One night, they came to me together, both of them. They asked me if I would help them. Help them how? They asked me to father a child with Patricia. Daniel would be there, involved. It would be done clinically, respectfully. He wanted a child that would have his genetics as closely as possible. And I was his closest blood relative. His cousin, actually. Not just his friend. Our fathers were brothers. Rachel stands up abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. You're telling me I was some kind of arrangement? Some transaction? No! You were wanted, desperately wanted, by both of them. Daniel loved you from the moment they told me Patricia was pregnant. I remember the day he called me, crying with joy. He said, "Marcus, we did it. We're going to have a baby." And I said, "No, Daniel, you did it. You're going to be a father." Then why tell me now? If everyone was so happy with this arrangement, if my dad loved me so much, why destroy that memory for me? Because it's not just about memory anymore, Rachel. It's about your future. Do you know that lung cancer can have genetic factors? Do you know that there's a history of early onset Alzheimer's in my family? Your daughter, your beautiful daughter Emma, she's 16 now. Don't you think she deserves to know her real genetic risks? What if she needs a kidney one day, or bone marrow? Your medical history isn't what you think it is. My daughter's name is Emily, not Emma. You don't even know your supposed granddaughter's name. Marcus's face falls, and for the first time, genuine pain flashes across his features. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I get confused sometimes. The cancer, the medications. But I saw her. I saw Emily at her school concert 2 months ago. She played the violin. She was beautiful. She has Patricia's musical talent. You're following my family? You're watching my daughter? Your Honor, this man is stalking us. This isn't about paternity. This is about some obsession. Rachel, please. I'm not stalking anyone. I'm an old man with cancer trying to make peace with his past. I have documents. I have letters that Patricia wrote to me over the years. I have a journal that she asked me to keep, documenting your milestones, in case something ever happened and the truth needed to come out. Judge Brennan raises her hand for silence. Mr. Sullivan, did you bring these documents with you today? Yes, Your Honor. My attorney has them. A younger man in a suit approaches the bench with a manila folder. Judge Brennan takes several minutes to review the contents, her expression unreadable. Rachel watches anxiously, her hands trembling slightly. These are letters from Patricia Torres to Marcus Sullivan, spanning from 1986 to 2019. They appear to discuss Rachel's development, her achievements, and they contain what seem to be updates about her life. Miss Torres, did you know your mother was in contact with Mr. Sullivan? No, I had no idea. I thought he was just some guy my parents knew from years ago. He came to a few family barbecues when I was really young. I barely remember him. That stopped when you were about 7 years old. Daniel asked me to stop coming around. He said it was too painful for him, seeing me with you, knowing the truth. He said every time he looked at me holding you, he felt like he was being reminded that you weren't really his. So I respected that. I stepped back. But Patricia, she would send me photos, letters. She wanted me to know how you were doing. But if my mother wanted you to know about me, if she was sending you all these updates, why didn't she just tell me the truth? Because she loved Daniel more than she loved the truth. And honestly, Rachel, so did I. Daniel was my brother in every way that mattered. When he died, part of me died too. I went to his funeral, stood in the back just like always. You gave the eulogy. You talked about what an amazing father he was, how he taught you to ride a bike, how he stayed up all night with you when you were studying for exams. And every word you said was true. He was an amazing father. He earned that title every single day. Then why take it away from him now? He's been dead for 13 years. Let him rest. Let me remember him the way he deserves to be remembered. I'm not taking anything away from Daniel. I'm trying to give you something. The truth. Your medical truth. Your genetic truth. And maybe, selfishly, I'm trying to give myself something too. A chance to be acknowledged, even if it's just for a few months before I'm gone. A chance to tell you that I've loved you your whole life, from a distance, in silence, but I've loved you. Love isn't supposed to be silent. Love isn't supposed to hide in the shadows and watch from across the street. Love is showing up, being present, being there when it's hard. My father, Daniel Torres, he loved me. You, Mr. Sullivan, you were a donor, that's all. The courtroom falls silent. except for the quiet sound of Marcus Sullivan's labored breathing. Judge Brennan's expression softened slightly. Miss Torres, I understand your anger. I do. But I need to ask you, do you have any doubt at all? In your heart, when you look at Mr. Sullivan, do you see any resemblance? Did you ever question your paternity? Never. Not once. Until he showed up 6 months ago and turned my entire life into a lie. But there was something, wasn't there, Rachel? Something your mother said to you before she died. Marcus Sullivan speaks quietly, almost whispering. What are you talking about? 3 years ago, when Patricia was in hospice, in those final days, she told you something. She said, there are things about your father you never knew, things that made him even more extraordinary than you realize. You told this to Daniel's sister at the funeral. She mentioned it to me. That could mean anything. She could have been talking about his charity work, or his service in Vietnam, or 100 other things. Or she could have been trying to tell you that the man you called father loved you so much that he raised another man's biological child as his own, and never once made you feel like you were anything less than his whole world. Rachel's eyes fill with tears, and she angrily wipes them away. I hate you for this. I hate you for making me question everything. I hate you for being here. I know, and I don't blame you. Judge Brennan takes a deep breath and looks between both parties. I'm going to call a witness who's been waiting outside. Miss Torres, your aunt, Daniel's sister Margaret, has asked to speak. Are you willing to hear what she has to say? Rachel nods reluctantly. An older woman, probably in her 70s, enters the courtroom. Her resemblance to Daniel is striking. The same kind eyes that Rachel remembers from her father. Mrs. Margaret Chen, thank you for coming. You're Daniel Torres' sister, is that correct? Yes, Your Honor. Danny was my baby brother. We were very close our whole lives. Did you know about this arrangement? About Mr. Sullivan being Rachel's biological father? I found out about 6 months before Danny died. He told me because he was scared. He'd been having chest pains, knew something was wrong, and he wanted someone in the family to know the truth in case Rachel ever needed medical information. He made me swear I wouldn't tell her unless it was absolutely medically necessary. And did my father, did Daniel, did he ever regret it? Did he ever wish I wasn't his daughter? Margaret's eyes fill with tears, and she shakes her head emphatically. Rachel, honey, you were the light of his life. The absolute light of his life. The day you were born, he called me at 3 a.m. from the hospital, sobbing with happiness. He said, Maggie. I held her, and I knew she was mine in every way that matters. He never, not for 1 second, regretted the decision he and Patricia made. You were his miracle. Then why does any of this matter? Why can't we just let it be? Because Marcus is right about one thing. The medical history matters. Your Uncle Richard, my son, he developed early onset Alzheimer's at 53. It runs in Marcus's family line, not in ours. And Rachel, you have a daughter. Emily deserves to know her real genetic background. It's not about taking away from Danny's memory. It's about protecting you and your children. Rachel sinks into her chair, overwhelmed. Judge Brennan allows a moment of silence before speaking. I think it's time we get the scientific answer to this question. Mr. Sullivan has submitted to DNA testing, as has Miss Torres. I have the results here. But before I read them, I want both of you to understand something. Biology is just one part of parenthood. Daniel Torres was Rachel's father in every meaningful sense of that word. These results don't change what he was to her. They only tell us about genetics. Do you both understand that? Yes, Your Honor. I understand. Judge Brennan opens the envelope, takes a moment to read the contents, and then looks up at both parties with a serious expression. In the matter of Sullivan versus Torres, regarding the paternity of 38-year-old Rachel Torres, this court has received DNA analysis from an accredited laboratory. The results indicate that Marcus Sullivan and Rachel Torres share a biological relationship consistent with that of parent and child. The probability of paternity is 99.97%. Mr. Sullivan, you are Rachel's biological father. Rachel doesn't cry. She doesn't react visibly. She simply stares straight ahead, processing. Marcus Sullivan, however, puts his head in his hands and his shoulders shake with silent sobs. After a long moment, Rachel speaks. her voice steady but strained. "What happens now?" "That's up to you, Miss Torres. Mr. Sullivan has made no claims on your estate, hasn't asked for any legal recognition beyond the acknowledgement of biological truth. He's requested that his medical records be made available to you and your family. The court can facilitate that. I don't know how to feel about this. I don't know how to think of you, Mr. Sullivan. You're not my father. Daniel Torres was my father. But I don't even know what you are." Marcus looks up, his eyes red but his voice clear. "I'm the man who gave you life, but Daniel Torres gave you everything else. I don't expect you to call me Dad. I don't expect a relationship. I just needed you to know the truth. And I needed you to know that every single day of your life, someone was watching over you, wishing you well, praying for your happiness. That was me. In the shadows, in the silence. That was me. You missed everything. You missed teaching me to ride a bike. You missed my first day of school. You missed my wedding, the birth of my daughter. You missed my life. I know. And I would give anything to have those moments back. But the arrangement your parents made, it was the right one for them and for you. You got to have a father who was there, who loved you without confusion or complication. Daniel never had to share you. You never had to wonder why you had two dads. You had stability, certainty. That was worth more than anything I could have given you." Judge Brennan interjects gently. "Miss Torres, you don't have to make any decisions today about what kind of relationship, if any, you want with Mr. Sullivan. Take the medical records, talk to your family, process this information, and know that this court is available if you need support or counseling resources during this difficult transition." Rachel nods slowly, then looks directly at Marcus for the first time. "How long did they say you have?" "The doctors are saying maybe 8 to 10 months. Could be less." "And what do you want from me?" "I want you to know that you were wanted. That 3 people loved you before you were even born. That your mother was an extraordinary woman who made an impossible choice because she loved her husband so much. And that Daniel Torres was the best man I ever knew and the best father you could have had. That's all I want you to know." Rachel stands, gathering her things. She pauses at the door, turns back. "My daughter, Emily. She plays violin in the school orchestra. They have a concert next month, December 15th at 7 p.m. If you want to come, you can sit wherever you want. You don't have to hide in the back anymore." She walks out before Marcus can respond. Margaret approaches him and places a gentle hand on his shoulder. "That's more than you hoped for, isn't it?" "It's everything I hoped for." Judge Brennan watches as the courtroom empties, then quietly closes the case file. Some truths, she reflects, are more complicated than any verdict can capture. Some families are built not just by blood, but by love, sacrifice, and the difficult choices people make in the hopes of protecting those they cherish most.